Hi guys. All right. Ooh, these flies. So I wanted to do a lesson. Hey, I don't know how I'm gonna do this lesson. I made notes, but it's still incomplete. It's still incomplete. But I've been pondering on it for some time. I made a video a while back about men and their source of wealth, and in that video, the cover of the video is a man in a suit sitting on an emperor chair, and there's purple behind him. So that's the video that I made about men and their source of wealth, and how men can unlock their source of wealth, and sometimes what is the blockages. Right? I mainly spoke about the blockages on a source of wealth for men. Now, I then said in the video that I will do another video for the woman, which I never did post. And there's a reason why I never posted it, because the part about the woman and their source of wealth is a little bit complicated, and it might take multiple videos. And so I need to tackle it. I just came back. I was out doing some stuff, and when I came back, I just felt I needed to start somewhere, and I made notes and I started dribbling things, but I know it's incomplete because the other parts I still don't know how to articulate them. The thing about me is that when I teach, I need to, like I was taught from a young age, from way back. I used to teach seminary. I used to teach seminary kids, and they were youth, not babies, but the youth. And I learned important lesson that concepts needs to be digestible. When I teach something, it needs to be in a way that any person can understand it. And if I can't teach it to a 5-year-old, then I don't know the concept fully, right? Now, the other parts of this lesson, I have not yet figured out how I am going to break them down. Once I do, I'll do other videos. Now, in order for you as a woman, so this video is mainly focused on the woman. In order for you as a woman to fully unlock your source of wealth, it's not like how the men do it. You can't do it the way the men do it. For you to unlock your source of wealth, you need to understand that your wealth, your source of wealth, is linked to your divinity. It's linked to your intuition. It's linked to your alignment with the divine power. You need to understand that your source of wealth is linked to your womb. Right. Now, let's go back. The only way for us to actually understand the message that I'm trying to articulate, we would need to go back in the beginning of history. Right, in the beginning of history. I have too many monetary spirits and monitoring what they're coming with flies, like I don't even know what they're doing here. But certain things, we cannot control them. Okay, let's not mind the flies. That's already a distraction. All right, now let's talk about in the Bible. Right, now, many of you already know that the Bible was translated more than 15 times. Could have even been translated more. The original Bible that we use as Christians in Christianity, the Bible that has been used, it's taken from other texts. It's not the original text. It's taken from other texts. It's just like, and we understand that in translation, a lot is lost. Just like how in our African native languages, we don't have he and she. We only have them. We only have male and female, but we don't have she and he. So now when the English word translates certain things, they'll say she and he, but we don't have it. So translating certain things from English to our native language is hard. That's why a lot of African people struggle with she, he in the pronunciation of English, right? Now, the Bible is not the original text, and it's taken from other multiple texts. Before the Bible was actually even created, there's other 12 religions that had the same meaning, that told the same story, right? Now, going back in history, before the Bible was created, before patriarch came into power, the rulers of the world were women, the goddess. In history, in ancient history, when you look at it, you will notice how they used to worship the goddesses. But that was taken away from us, and we lost our power because patriarchy was now ruling, and they turned God into a man. Now, God can't be, the creator of the world can't be a man, because a man doesn't know how to create. A man does not have the power to create. Even if a man was the creator, the earth would be a man. We would call earth Father Earth, but we don't. We call it Mother Earth, because earth is the creator. The mother is the creator. I know many of you are going to be angry with me for saying this, but it doesn't matter. Those that have ears to hear will listen, right? Now, the original gods were women, were the goddesses. Hence, that's why in ancient Egyptians, in ancient history, in ancient Mesopotamia, in ancient Syrian, in ancient India, in ancient where the goddesses hold more power. It is only when the Westerners, even us in Africa, in ancient Africa, the woman, the matriarch, was the most powerful person in a village. That's why we still even have Queen Mojaji. We still even have rulers who are women. When the whole of Europe was ruled by men, there were women in Africa who were ruling, who were the kings and who were the queens. But that was taken away from us when the colonizers, when the white man comes. The first thing that they did was take the power of the woman. Remove the goddesses from history and change the goddess and make the goddess an evil entity. And what that then did, it made us as women forget who we are. You are a goddess, and the minute you understand that, you link yourself to your source of wealth. You are the original creator. You hold a portal of creation in your womb. Bodies, for a soul to be able to be born on earth, it needs to be created in your womb. You are the universe. You are the embodiment of the universe. Between in your womb, there's a portal that links dimension that every soul needs to walk through. You are the gateway. You are the gateway. There's no other gate for any soul to enter earth but through you. For gods to become gods, they need to go through you. And that then makes you a god, because you are the creator of gods. For a soul to leave its mother earth, still mother. For its soul to leave its mother, get on the mothership, mother, and come to Mother Earth. You leave your mother planet, you get on the mothership, and you come to Mother Earth. For a soul to do any of those things and come here to learn and train in the most elite school to become a goddess, to become a god, they need to go through you. And once you understand that you are the embodiment of creation, you are the creator, you are the universe. You have a direct identity with the universe. And when you came here on earth, you held the universe within your womb. You will then understand how powerful you are. And until a woman understands her power, she will never fully access her source of wealth. You need to learn that you are mother, earth and heaven. You are the goddess. Now let's look back into Egypt, because I like Egyptian mythology. Let's look back into Egypt. There's a goddess named Goddess Nat. She is the mother of heaven and earth. She is the embodiment of creation. She is life itself, because she gives life. And in what is it called? Incantation terminology, a female represents time and space. You are the embodiment of time, and you are the embodiment of space. When they talk about the galaxy, the same elements and elements that are found in the galaxy are found within your womb. You are the embodiment. You decide time, because you decide whether a soul will be born on earth or not. You give a soul time to be born and develop into godhood. You also give a soul space to grow, because the embodiment, the womb that you hold, it is the thing that it is the space that the soul needs to develop a body. And once the soul has developed a body, then you give it time. It now has time on earth to transcend and to learn and to grow and to go through school. But each and every soul, for it to come back again and have this time and space to learn and grow, it needs a womb. It needs the womb that holds the ultimate power of creation. In the Bible, when they say in the beginning, God said, that's the God, man can't do that. Men can't say, let's make men. Because if men could have made men, then the woman would not have been a need for her. Because they need a woman. A woman is the one that, it is a woman who creates life. It's a woman who creates a body. And the same men in the Bible that said, God said, let us make men in our own image and in our own likeness. Right? But they were on earth. Why couldn't they make men wherever they were? Why did they have to come to Mother Earth? Because they needed the womb of the mother. And hence that's why they took elements from the mother, from Mother Earth, and created a man. So this rubbish about a woman comes out of a man, it's rubbish. There's no such thing. As a woman, even in science, there is no woman who's missing a bone. You are perfect. You are the eternal being. You are the embodiment of eternity. Your existence itself is eternity. Your existence itself, it is what allows us to be gods. But the thing about it is that the goddesses are your children. The gods are your children. Before I even go to that, I realized that I left something out. So for a person to develop and become a god, they need to become your child first. So you cannot produce a god and develop gods if you are not a goddess yourself. You first have to be a god in order to make other gods. But then the thing is that we have lost our identity as women. And the reason many of you are struggling is because you have forgotten your divinity, your true essence. You have forgotten that you hold a powerful portal within your womb. You have forgotten the amazing power that you hold. Instead, many of you just use it. You have no idea what you're even doing with that power. Right? And you have forgotten that you are the embodiment of heaven and earth. You are the igniter. You are the ignition. You are the igniter of the path that every single soul needs to walk on. That's why even families and homes fall apart when the mother is gone. There's this thing I saw on social media where a man, there was a garden that was created. And the garden, they had a beautiful garden. And the first picture is him and his wife in this beautiful garden. When she died, it's now him alone in this garden. There's no garden. It's dry. Because it shows the importance of life that a woman has. A man can have an amazing, beautiful house, but it always remains a house. No man has the power. No man knows how to turn a house into a home. To create that warmthness that a mother brings into a home, a woman brings into a home, even if a couple doesn't have kids. But the fact that there's a woman in a particular space, it just has a different power. And many men can't do that on their own, all of them. So you have forgotten yourself. You have forgotten the ancient secrets that make you who you are. And because of that, for you to be able to access the depth of your wealth, you have to go back to your original self. You have to go back to your embodiment of a goddess. Now, number one, a goddess, this thing that we see on social media where they tell you that a goddess, they show you goddesses who are skinny and white and what and Venuses. Those are not goddesses. The original goddesses were full-figured. They were women. They were living women. They were figured women. That was the original goddess. Because a goddess never worried about how her figure. Because people worship, the more vigorous she was, the more luscious she is, the more she is worshipped. But the more skinnier goddess it is, then she is malnutritioned. Right? I'm diverting now. So you need to go back to your original essence of godhood. You need to find your divinity. You need to find your goddess's power. And until you as a woman understand that you hold a sacred portal for souls, and if you can produce souls within your wombs and these souls become gods, then it means that you hold the power of the source of creation in your womb. If you hold the power of creation in your womb, then it means you can create anything you put your mind to. Because this whole earth is created from Mother Earth. Creation is the key to your source of wealth. Majority of the billionaires, many of them before they become billionaires, they always have a woman who is the rock and the foundation. When they then become billionaires, they leave the woman to go date other women. But the foundation of a man's source of wealth, majority of them, it's built on the foundation. The foundation is a woman who kept them grounded, who held their back. So the problem now, the deepest problem, many of you can't access your source of wealth, is because you have lost the portal that you hold in your womb. It is the link. It is what connects you to the godhood. It is what connects you, links you to the divinehood, to source. It is the battery. It is the cable. You are the phone. There's a cable that connects to the main source and charges the phone. And that cable, the link, is your womb. But many of you have lost the connection. Well, the cable is not the womb. You already have the womb, but you have a creative power that connects you to the main source. But many of you have lost that power. And you've lost that power because of you keep on misusing the womb. You keep on misusing the womb. And sleeping with low vibrational people. Some of you, your channel, your cable is connected to the evil realm. And you are bringing souls which are dark on earth because of the rituals, that sexual rituals that you keep getting yourself involved in. Because of the men that you keep on sleeping with. Men, and I'm sorry to all the men, I'm not saying all the men are like this, but in history, men never liked the woman. If men could have created the earth and ruled the earth alone, men would have destroyed the woman. And hence, that's why there's a trend on social media that I've been seeing where a lot of people are talking about how much men hate women. They date you, they will sleep with you, but they will still hate you. And you allow it because you have no idea who you are. You do not know who you are, and because you do not know who you are, you will just allow any entity that has money to come into your womb and leave its energy in your womb. And with that, the goddesses lost their power, their connection to the divinity. And then when they fell from glory, when the goddess fell from glory, it then became something else. Humanity also fell. When the goddesses regained their power, humanity also regains its power. Because the goddesses are the creator. So you as a woman, if you do not know who you are and your power and the potential you have, you will always be reliant on a man to bring you your source of wealth. And even the majority of the men need you. Many of the men are unable to unlock their source of wealth because they need you. They need that portal to be able to create their source of wealth. They need that essence that comes from your vagina that cleanses generations. And many of you have no idea of the power that you hold. So the first step for you as a woman to regaining your source of wealth is to rebuild your womb. Is to rebuild your womb, is to understand your power, is to regain your healing. Until you go, and hence that's why many ancestors, and it's a trend that I've been noticing. You will notice that ancestors will require celibacy from a woman, but they don't care about the men. Men, they'll be like, you can do it if you want to. But celibacy, the ones that goes over 2-3 years, is mainly required and demanded from the women who are initiating. And you should ask yourself, why is there a thing about purity? Even in the Bible, they talked about virgins. Why is it that virgins held so much power? Why is that so much power in terms of purity, sexual purity? Men don't have to be sexual purity. They don't, it doesn't do much for them. Well, it does, but why is it that a woman, when she decides to be sexually pure, for some reason, she gains her power? She first of all gains her identity of who she is. She starts to love herself better. And she becomes a powerhouse when she's sexually pure. Why is that? Why is it that? Because the minute you go into celibacy, you start the processes of rebuilding and reinforcing your womb. And through that process, you also start the processes of linking yourself. That cable cord, you are then able to link yourself back to the divine source, to the main source. And once you start the linking process of the main source, then you are not only able, your job is not just to make babies, to bring souls on earth, but you are able to channel the creative power that can produce immense powers for yourself on earth that will put you on leadership positions. But you have to start somewhere. And that's the reason why I didn't do this, because a lot of you have lost yourself. You've lost who you are. And many of you are at the point where you are dependent on, you seek, not even dependent. Many of you are just seeking validations from men. Many of you can't even go without a relationship. In the Bible, Paul said, men, men must love the woman. And then he said to the women, they must just be submissive. There's a reason why Paul said love men, because men don't easily love. You are the embodiment of love. You are love itself. You cannot create if you do not know how to love. You cannot hold the power of creation if you are not the embodiment of love. So you don't need to love because you are love itself. But a man needs to love. For a man to be able to become a god, the man needs to go, the initiation that a man needs to go through to become a god on earth is to love. Part of it, I think there are 4 or 5 things that we need to do on earth. So far, I know 5, which I'm going to share one day. Things that we need to do on earth in order for us to become gods. And one of them is the initiation of love. And the people who need to do the initiation of love are the men. And hence, that's why a man needs to love a woman. And because men are the greatest struggle that men have is loving a woman, that's why they removed the woman, because from leadership, from godhood, and they removed, and then they placed themselves, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So 2 men are creating, the Father, the Son. We don't know what the Holy Spirit is. They say it's genderless. So it's only men who are creating. There's no woman there. Obviously, they had to remove the woman, because in order for them to become gods, they need to worship a woman. Your process, you are not required to love, but they have to be devoted. A man has to be devoted, has to go through the initiation of devotion to a woman, and he has to then go through the initiation of offerings. That's why goddesses had temples. You as a man, you go through the initiation of a goddess, and once you have reached a certain point, then you start going to the temple to offer offerings and taking care of the goddess. That's history. That's ancient. That's how things were done. That's the law of nature. Right? So many of them are supposed to come to a point where you as a woman, you're supposed to be worshipped. You're supposed to be honored. You're supposed to be respected and revered. But many of you have lost, you are fallen goddesses. And once a goddess has fallen, then she is enslaved. And that's what happened. In order for them to take the power from you, they had to make you a fallen goddess. Once you were fallen, now you are enslaved. And once they started enslaving you, they created the institution of marriage, contracts, where now you were bounded, and they could trade you as slave as they wished. And hence, that's why in history, fathers would decide what they do with their daughters and who they marry them to without the daughter having any decision. That was the process of slavery. That's how it started. Slavery didn't start with black people. Slavery started with women. Once it worked well with women, then it was easy for it to be moved to other races. When they came to Africa, the women were the leaders, the chief. The women were the leaders, the rulers. Just look at the animal kingdom. The women, the female animals are the rulers. The lions in the lion kingdom, even yes, the lion is powerful, but the one that rule the place is the woman. Right? So now they needed to remove. Once you forgot who you are and the power of creation that you hold, and the fact that your body is a temple, your body itself is a temple. And in this temple, the body is a temple, and what your body has that a man doesn't have, your body has the Holy of Holies. The temple, every holy temple has what we call the Holy of Holies. And that is the gateway where God sits. That's where the Empress sits. The gateway in between heaven and earth, the Holy of Holies. Your body is a temple and it holds the Holy of Holies. Your temples are defiled. Your temples are doing sacrifice. In your Holy of Holies, the sacrifices that have been done, blood sacrifices that have been done there of humans. There are blood sacrifices and there's temples, there's things, snakes are allowed to come in and devour the souls that are supposed to come on earth in those temples. There's dark rituals that are done in the Holy of Holies. And then you wonder, why is it that you cannot manifest wealth? Your source of wealth starts in your womb. You have to regain your temple. Sanctify your temple, your body. Sanctify your Holy of Holies, your wound. Restructure it, rebuild it. Bring back the essence of God, the eternal burning fire in the Holy of Holies. When the blue fire starts burning, which is the Kundalini starts rising, then your temple is sanctified. Then you become the embodiment of creation. Then you can call things into existence. Just like how they said, the God said, let us. And God said, let the feminine of the earth, let light shine. That is you. You will then be able to do that. But the first step, and I know many of you women, it will just go, I'm sure some people think I'm crazy. I'm sure some of you think I'm crazy, but until you regain your power, you regain your rulership, until you know who you are, you will never access immense wealth. And accessing immense wealth doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and build a corporate. That's the thing. When they made you, when the goddess fell, they told the goddess that in order for the goddess to become anything, she needs to become like the man. Forget who she is. Forget her essence and go and work hard like a man. As a woman, you create from a place of ease. A man creates from a place of hard work. They labor, they till the ground. But as a woman, you create from a place of ease. Hence, that's why even your cycle is 28 days. A man's cycle is 24 hours. Yours is 28 days because it represents the cycles of nature. It represents summer, autumn, winter, spring. That's the 28-day cycle. It represents the cycles of nature. Until you get back into your cyclehood, until you regain and restructure your body, which is a temple, and until you rebuild your Holy of Holy womb, and until you understand, you bring back that connection that is lost, and you understand that your purpose is not to only make babies, but your purpose is creation, and creation is multidimensional. Creation is not just only about making babies. Creation is creating life. Life doesn't only revolves around babies. Creation is is creating wealth, creating abundance, creating warmth, creating a good space. But you need to regain that. You need to go back to your essence, to your power, for you to be able to tap into your source of wealth. And you need to understand you don't need a man. The man needs you. For a man to tap into his source of wealth, many of them need to marry you. They need to get into a marital contract with you and your bloodline. They need you to come and purify their bloodlines for them to become billionaires. But many of you are just so... Many of you are just so lost. You have no idea who you are. You think that being worthy is Maybelline. Because you're worth it, you need to put on makeup. Many of you feel lost without even wearing makeup. If there's no contouring on your face, you don't know who you are. If a man doesn't like you, you don't know who you are. If the world tells you need to be skinny, you don't know who you are. So until you regain your divinity and your godhood and understand the powers you hold, you will never tap into your full source of wealth. But until the goddesses are reborn, until the goddesses regain their power, we will also never ascend into the 5D. In the 5D, patriarchy does not rule. In the millennium, the new earth, the patriarchal system cannot survive. We need to go back to being ruled by goddesses. But how are we going to go back to being ruled by goddesses when the goddesses don't even know who they are? Hi. Let me see if I left anything on my notes. I think I'm going to leave it here. So those are the first steps. That's the reason why I didn't do this video. Because when I was told to do it, I was like, hi, I don't know if they will hear me. But that's the first step. That's the first step to regaining your source of wealth. You need to tap, and that's why many of you are going through, your ancestors are forcing you to go through a period of celibacy. I did make a video about celibacy, and I did talk about the power of Ruth, the gift of Ruth. And I did talk about the gift that purifies bloodline, the sexual gift that purifies bloodlines. But you guys are busy using that gift on dark entities, fueling dark entities and dark rituals. So until you guys know who you are, and the thing about it is that a man will always live up to the standards that we create for them. We created the monsters of men that we are seeing today because we enabled them. We are the ones that are allowing them to continue to perpetuate this culture. And until you as a woman, you take your power back, yes, it will mean that you will be lonely. No one will be asking you out for a couple of years. Yes, it means that you will have to let go of certain connection. And until many of you do that, because many of you are just dependent on the men, and you are being used in rituals, and these men are making billions with your power, the fallen goddesses. Until you know who you are, you will understand that any person who enters your life needs to come with an offering, needs to revere you, needs to worship you. And until a goddess doesn't seek validation, a goddess builds a temple there, and whoever devotee decides to come in, they'll come in. If they don't come, they don't come. It doesn't matter. And the temple will always be functional. Just like how a woman, no matter what, a man can leave her with 5 kids, but the kids will have food and go to school. But a woman leaves a man with 5 kids, it's chaos. The children are going to be starving. It's just going to be chaos in the house. So until many of you regain your power and understand who you are, then your source of wealth is not linked to a business. Many of you, your source of wealth is not going to find a job. Your source of wealth is linked. It's there. It's within you. The men have to go out and seek it out. But your source of wealth is within you. Let me leave it here.